I literally hit burnout. So I was doing, my average day would probably look like 6, 7 a.m. until probably like 8 p.m. at night. And then I was like picking up stuff for my meal prep company that I was trying to grow at 8 o'clock. And it's like, what kind of life is that? As much as you can say, you know, the hustle, the grind, if you want it, you want it. But it's like, I wasn't happy. Doesn't matter. Like I can work. I didn't feel like my purpose, my needs were being met, because there's nothing wrong with in-person coaching. I still love coaching people now and again in person. It was just that I felt very unfulfilled that I was kind of doing the same thing. And as a coach, like, I think if you're not committed to improving your education, constantly iterating, constantly growing, you are going to get stagnant, you are going to get bored. And that's the same in any industry. And I say this to the guys in my program, like, okay, well, how can you be upskilling? How can you be growing? How can you be doing things that are different? Because the physique's just one piece of the puzzle. You know, whether that's, going back to your questions, getting a bit off tangent there, it's like, I got to that point where I just hit burnout and I was like, I can't do this for another 5 to 10 years. So I was like, okay, well, what are the other options? And as a coach, like I said, you grow, you change, and why I changed it to the Uncompromised Program, because it can be bigger than just me. I was starting to think about that longer term vision. It's like, okay, well, I can only work with X amount of people per week. I want to help more guys who have probably experienced that burnout that I've just experienced, guys who've gone through phases of depression, guys who maybe had a bit of an alcohol problem, whatever it is. And to be able to think, okay, well, if I'm feeling like that, there's probably a lot of other guys feeling like that. And that's when I was like, bing, light bulb moment. Okay, I was really compromising myself, my health, my personal standards, my relationships, because I didn't have any. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, well, to be able to change this, I'm just going to need someone that can, and that's what a good mentor and a coach will do, stretch your vision far past what you can see personally. And when I spoke to a couple of people and found the right guy, I was like, he was telling me things of what I could achieve that I was like, nah. And he was like, look, I'll show you the data. I helped this guy do this, numbers. And when it's put in front of you like that, you can't not believe it. And that's exactly what I do with my clients. I'm like, look, the average fat that my clients lose is 12 kilos in the first phase. So it's like, and I can show you visual data of people doing that, and then they create buy-in, they understand the process. So it's the same with anything. I think it's just a case of understanding, dropping the ego and asking for help, and a lot of men aren't ready to do that.
I think you bring up a good point about belief.
Yeah.
It's like once you physically see it, you then this is what I'm an egotistical maniac, but whenever I see anyone doing something, I'm like, why can't I do that? Mm-hmm. Like if he can do it, I can do it. And I've had that probably happen to me 100 times in the last 3 years, because I'm surrounded by amazing people in amazing situations. And when I see them do something, I'm like, I could definitely do that, mm-hmm. Without a doubt. So and actually the whole reason I started my podcast on my YouTube was that moment. I saw some guy, met him. I'm not going to name him or anything, but had a huge following. Just like, if this guy can do it, I can do it. Well, it's just inevitable if you put in the effort and you put in the time. So I think I call that like identifying the problem, like I've said a few times. But when you identify it, the easiest way to identify something is someone to show you the possibilities that you can have. And that's and that comes to relationships and everything else in your life as well. If you see someone else with happy, constant relationship and they're like together, you think, oh, it's actually possible, because the whole world tells you doom and gloom.
Don't watch the news.
Yeah, never, ever.
If you listen to this, just don't watch the news.
But you was talking about your Uncompromised Program. Like, let's go into that and tell me exactly what it is, and not so much a sales pitch, but explain what it is and what you actually do.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we've touched on the main basis of it, like who I help, busy men, business owners. I help them look at their health and their life goals. I'm not a fucking life coach, even though one of my clients, Jord, at the weekend, every group of girls that we were out, he'd meet, he'd be like, this is my life coach. I'm like, well, you fucking stop that. I'm not. But I just help guys get really clear on a vision that genuinely excites them. And that covers 3 areas: personal, physical, professional. And that's pretty much the basis of what I do. Because I believe the physical health is the thing that underpins your ability to progress in anything else. Because some coaches will preach and talk about time management, and this is something I learned off my coach. It's not about time management, it's about energy management. Where you put in your energy, because where the energy goes, results follow, right? Things will compound. You put your energy into the right areas. That's why I said about priorities is so important, because if you want to grow your business, you're going to have to go full tilt on the business. it means that the other two areas are going to have to pull back a little bit. Maybe personal relationships, communicate to your wife. I'm going to be working like physical, maybe drop your training frequency down a little bit. It's a constant iteration game.
Well, because for me, use me as an example again, you use the word energy, which is great. I think like intention, because I've been going through the last 2 months, 3 months, I want to get in shape. I'll start going to the gym. Been going to the gym every morning, 10 o'clock, get there, do my workout. But there's no intention there. There's no energy there. I'm just like going through the motions of doing it because I know that's kind of what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's not changed anything.
Yeah.
And now I've understood and identified that's the problem, and the way that I fix it is putting some energy or some structure and energy into that issue. And now the only way that works, if I'm going to go hard in the gym, then I'm going to be a bit more tired throughout the day, and I'm not going to have the energy to maybe do so many sales calls or to do long podcasts or do 3 podcasts in a day, or maybe I can only do 1. Fine. Mm-hmm. You have to understand your limitations. Yes, you can push your limitations, and you should always be trying to push your limitations. But what I have learned through my last 10 years or 20 years is that intention, that word intention. That's what I've been trying to do for the last 3 or 4 when I've been going into business. I'm trying to keep, because in training it was easy for me, because when I was fighting, I would train 2 or 3 times a day. Each session would be an hour to an hour and a half. And my intention only mattered in those sessions. So it was like, as long as I had full intention in my training, I had a whole training journal and a whole system towards training, and I kept full intention. It's only like 2-3 hours a day. So I improved vastly in those things. Now in business, it's all day. Mm-hmm. My intention has to be like, my attention span has to be like a lot longer, talking like 10, 12 hours a day. So I'm trying to slowly increment and increase the amount of intention and energy I can put into something. And I think that is, because I know people that I see and I spend time with, and they are switched on, focused on something throughout the whole day, all day, every day. It's like a learned skill. Mm-hmm. I learned the skill for training. I'm very, very good at focusing on something. I'm efficient at focusing for an hour.
Get in the gym, it's good. I'm really glad you said this, because one of the ways that I look at my clients, and this is applicable to you now that you're juggling the business, you're trying to actually prioritize your health a little bit, is like, it doesn't have to be, you've got something. If you shout out to Dan Reeve, strength coach, does my programming, unbelievable guy at what he does, and he uses something to keep the goal. What is the main goal right now? And that's to get in shape. But you can also have micro goals underneath that big goal. You can still look to grow your business, but just think about a weekly structure. And this is something I say to my clients. Looking at your weekly structure, set days had different energy days. For me, my high energy days are Monday, Tuesday. Start of the week, I'm raring to go, big tasks get done there. Business is the priority Monday, Tuesday. Physique, Wednesday, Tuesday, probably a little bit of less of an intense session. And when you start going back to the energy management thing, when you think about things like that and you actually start opening your eyes to where's my energy going, what are the actual energy demands on certain days, then you can start pairing, and that's when you create structure that complements your lifestyle, not complicates it. And that's when you find a groove with it yourself. And that's when people say to me, how do I get in shape? I'm like, show me what your life looks like. How long's a piece of string? Where are you putting most of your energy? What's the main goal? How can we structure things differently? Because that's going to be so much more effective than me going, right, Luke, Monday, we're going to do GVT, 10 by 10, heavy squats. And you're like, but I've got 6 calls that day. That would be irresponsible for me to program you that on a Monday. So it's about, and that can change. It's like, okay, well, if we know we've got non-negotiable sessions and optional sessions, and I do this with my team, 3 non-negotiables, they are every week you have to hit them no matter what. Don't care when you do them, as long as by the end of the week they're done, you choose when they go in. We've then got maybe 2 optional sessions. If you've got a quieter week, you're going to maybe bump it up to 4 and 5. But I know if you hit those 3 non-negotiables, by this date, you're going to be making X amount of progress. So when, again, it goes back to the stretching the vision, having the purpose, but then bringing it back on a micro level and going, how do we manage things? Looking at how busy you are. When's going to be a good time for you to go and do those main sessions? Find your right time, find your good days.